Esto es Elijo Bienestar, el podcast en donde platicaremos sobre cómo crear una vida plena. Hablaremos de todo, de salud mental, emocional, espiritual, física, financiera, ambiental, de salud sexual y por supuesto de relaciones humanas. Queremos que este sea tu espacio de reflexión y autoconocimiento. Quédate con Yez Blabla y aprende a transformarte en una persona satisfecha y feliz. Elijo Bienestar Podcast.
Konnichiwa, boku no namae wa John Garzee desu. Hajimemashite. That just means like, hello, nice to meet you. My name is John Garzee. I think that learning about this topic is one of the things that has helped us to repair our relationship. So in the past, we had been together and we broke up. And I think because we learned this, we were able to realize that we have struggles.
Yeah.
And sometimes those struggles are really painful and really difficult. But with this skill, it makes it a lot easier to have a disagreement or have an argument, get upset. And it just helps us to come back.
Hola, ¿cómo están? Welcome everyone. This is Yez Blabla, and today I'm recording my first episode in English. I'm very excited because this is a new challenge for me. Today is going to be a different episode because of the language and also because I will share a bit more about my personal and romantic life. So what's the topic today? It's about active listening to creating connections in your relationships. This is a very important skill or tool that we have to develop if we want to create meaningful and lasting relationships. So today I'm gonna share with you a little bit more about what I'm doing and how I'm still working on this and mastering this new skill. And I will be posting notes from this episode on Instagram and Facebook, so you save it and have it for your next heated argument or you have an issue with a coworker, with your partner, with a friend, and you need to put this into practice. Please save it and keep it next to you. So why am I doing it in English today? Well, because today I have a very, very special guest with me who speaks poquito español. So he feels more comfortable speaking in English. And by the way, I apologize if at some point I get stuck or my ideas and pronunciation are a bit off. So sorry about that. I'm doing my best. And who is this person? He is someone who has challenged me in different ways and has also encouraged me to grow as a person, but also as a partner. And I'm talking about my boyfriend. How are you, John? Welcome.
Hey, I'm doing great. And it's really exciting for me to be part of your podcast. I've heard you talk a lot about all your other posts, so it's really cool to be part of this topic.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being part of this. And I invited him because I wanted to share with you guys that we have gone through hard times as a couple. And one of the skills we have to learn, like we have had to learn and practice over and over and over the time to overcome our differences is active listening. And our differences are because first, we are from different cultures. So that's a huge thing, I'll say.
Yeah, you can't ignore that.
All right. So also we have different languages. Fortunately, he has helped me with my English, but I think it has been a challenge at some point. It has been hard for me to sometimes express, fully because it's a different language. And one thing I want to say is that by learning this skill, he and I have created a stronger relationship. I personally feel that now we are communicating more effectively. I don't know what he thinks about this, but
I agree.
And created a safe space. We have created a space where we feel respected, understood, and I don't know, maybe compassion to each other. Like, I understand where you're coming from, and
yeah,
I think that has helped.
Did you say respect?
Yeah.
Okay. Respect. Yeah.
Yeah. So welcome, Han. And I'm very happy to have you here. And I'm also nervous because this is my first episode in English. And because this is a very vulnerable topic for most people, talking about relationships.
The not perfect parts.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Not the good things that everything is like perfect and we are so in love, but talking about those hard times.
This is the stuff that we don't post on Facebook. This is the stuff that's not on social media that we don't tell our family and friends.
Yeah, exactly. Because think about this, guys. Most of the times we post, I love that. Because most of the time we post things or photos where we are happy, right? And of course, that's nice. I don't want to see you arguing. But I think it's also like good to share with people that we care about, like, hey, I'm struggling in this area, and just being more vulnerable and maybe learn from them.
I think it's also really nice to see that people that have a healthy relationship also argue. Because a lot of times we see examples of relationships from movies.
Yeah.
And it's just the perfect parts.
Yeah.
And then when we experience our relationship, we're like, wait, we're getting upset at each other. That must mean that there's something wrong.
Yeah.
But no, not necessarily.
I should run away from this person.
Yeah.
I should run away from this relationship. So I hope you find this episode really helpful for your relationships, guys. Either if you are in a partnership or romantic relationship, I'm pretty sure you have friends and family. So this skill of active listening will be helpful for you. So, John, I'm curious about, I don't know, you.
Ooh, yeah?
I would like you to share something fun or curious about you with the audience.
Something curious about me is that I'm half Japanese and half American. And so because of that, the reason why that's an interesting fact is that Japanese culture and American culture have very different perspectives on like how to act and like the ways that they think about certain things. And so growing up, my mom and dad had different opinions on things. And I learned to see two different opinions. And, you know, one's for my mom, one's for my dad. And I can't say like, oh, one's stupid.
Yeah.
So I learned to respect two different opinions and perspectives.
Very different, right?
Yeah. And I think that's really important to have. I really appreciate it because like politically, the United States is like super divided.
Yeah.
So I'm able to see like different opinions and be like, okay, you know, you guys both make sense and you're also a little bit funny on some things.
Yeah. That's cool. I think like because you have parents from different cultures, you have a more, I don't know, broader perspective.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. I don't see it just from like the lens of an American.
Yeah.
Or as a Japanese person. A little bit both.
Yeah. And I think active listening, it's related.
Yeah.
This,
that's
right?
true, yeah.
Like you need to also understand your partner's perspective, regardless if you are American, half Japanese, and I'm 100% Mexican. Viva Mexico, cabrones. So I think at the end, we are two extremes. And at some point, we need to find like, how to say that? Like
a middle ground?
A middle ground, right? For pretty much everything, especially if you want to be in a healthy relationship. So you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Like introduce yourself. What do you do for a living?
Yeah.
Your hobbies?
So what I do for a living and the things that I get paid for are I work as a traffic engineer for San Francisco.
So he's not a psychologist, so I'm not...
No. I'm not an expert on this topic, but I've practiced this with Jessica.
Yes. So I think, guys, this is something cool because for this, I wanted to bring someone who is not in the field of, I don't know, psychology and healthcare and all that part that I really care about. And that's the idea of this podcast, like choose well-being, right? Elijo Bienestar. But having someone from a different area learning how to apply this skill, it's very important, especially in relationships. So, okay, John, sorry for the interruption.
Yeah.
So what do you do for a living again?
So I'm a traffic engineer for San Francisco. And that basically means that I help with designing and building bike lanes and traffic calming, which just helps to make San Francisco more bike friendly and friendly for walking.
Yeah.
And then what I do for a hobby, oddly enough, is that I ride my bike around the city. And I look at Google Maps and I look at other cities around the world and I look at how they're laid out. And I also like to learn about personal finances.
Oh, nice. Good. You also like to listen to podcasts.
Yes, I like listening to podcasts.
That's one of the things that we share in common. Like we share episodes of other podcasts and we learn. So it's pretty cool. I thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And now that you said, well, I mean, you are Japanese and you are American, right? Half. Yep. So can you say hello and introduce yourself in Japanese? That would be fun.
Yeah. こんにちは。僕の名前は John Garzee です。はじめまして。That just means like, hello, nice to meet you. My name is John Garzee.
Ah, yep. Nice. Yeah. Cool. You want to say hello to your mom in Japanese?
こんにちは、ママ。元気?
So, hello, Kazumi, by the way. Anyways, so, by the way. So, why did you decide to participate in this episode, John?
I decided to participate because I think that learning about this topic is one of the things that has helped us to repair our relationship. So, in the past, we had been together and we broke up. And I think because we learned this, we were able to realize that we have struggles. Yeah. And sometimes those struggles are really painful. Yeah. And really difficult. But with this skill, it makes it a lot easier to have a disagreement or have an argument, get upset. And it just helps us to come back. Because when we're upset, it's really difficult to be like, what do I do? Oh my God. So that's why I think this is really important. Yeah. And when you asked me to talk about this, I was really happy. Yeah. I think that's a skill that we have been like practicing, and we are not experts just yet. Nor never. But I think it has been very, very helpful. And I would like to ask you this question. And it's, how is your health and happiness affected when you don't feel connected? Either you don't feel connection with yourself, with your loved ones, friends, co-workers, I don't know, a team. How do you think that your health and happiness is affected? For this, I'll at least talk about like how I feel when I don't feel connected with you. When I feel disconnected in a relationship, it really disempowers me and it makes me want to give up. And I guess like my tendency is to like think about how to be on my own and all that stuff, and just be my own little person on the side. Yeah. Yeah. I think I feel something like that too. And for me, is that I feel disconnected. I mean, when I feel disconnected from people, I start feeling anxious. And for me, anxiety comes up as like kind of shivering or like some kind of stiffness, in my body. And especially this gets worse when I don't know how to reconnect with you or a friend. Yeah. Where I don't know how to repair, how to do it after an argument or a fight. It's just like, how can I do this, right? And that also like causes like a pain in my chest, and it's just not a good feeling. I can see how feeling disconnected from others affects my well-being in general, like my mental, my emotional, and my physical health. So I found a very helpful way to reconnect. And one of them is active listening. But before to get to that point, I need to step back and think about what I can take responsibility for. Because otherwise I won't connect. If I want to reach out to you, but I'm still in this position where I'm the victim, or you did this to me and you're wrong, I'm right, I think that's not gonna go well. Yeah. We had this experience yesterday where we got upset and I stepped away, I used the bathroom, and I thought to myself, okay, what did I do? What was I responsible for? Yeah. And I think that's like one of the first steps. Yeah. It's important to recognize that when you have an argument, both people are responsible in some way. Yeah. No one's 100% wrong or 100% the reason for that. Yeah. So try and figure out what you did, accept that you were responsible for something, and then come to your partner and say like, hey, I apologize. Let me understand how you feel. Yeah. Yeah. And that felt good. Yeah. It felt really nice. I liked it. That felt good. From my perspective, he came and he said, babe, I apologized because the way I reacted, like it seems that I wasn't
on your side. I was on someone else's side.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, when someone comes and do that, in my case, I just feel like, okay, I don't need to be defensive anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that's really helpful. And I think that's one of the main or maybe first step before you practice active listening.
Mm-hmm.
Come and show yourself like, I don't know, humble. Sorry for that noise if you hear it, guys. Sorry about that. We have some neighbors like hammering next to the house. But I think that's the first step for me. Like just acknowledge and recognize what you are responsible for, right? So, guys, we need to keep in mind that relationships are the most important area in our lives. And think about this. As human beings, we are looking for connection and love. And think of when you were a kid. You were looking for approval from your parents, mainly. You wanted to be seen, loved, appreciated. And as adults now, we still keep looking for this connection. But now, in a shape of a partner or a friend or a boss or someone else. So when we feel connected, guys, guess what? We also feel safe. And we feel safe to express how we feel, what we think, safe to make decisions, safe to create, and
safe to take risks.
Yeah. So guys, please work on this. Try to feel connected and feel safe. So for today, we want to give an example of a fight argument that we had in the past.
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago, maybe, right? So John, would you like to explain it?
Sure. So to give a little background, I am conservative and I like to be prepared for things. So I like to have like an emergency kit for like if there's an earthquake. I like to have extra water and food. And I also got a new thing, which is kind of like the little completion for my emergency kit, which was a fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
And my thought was, we have a kitchen, we cook, and our house is made of wood.
Yeah.
Because we live in the United States and a lot of houses there are made out of wood. So I thought it would be a good idea to get something to prevent our entire house from burning down and being responsible for paying for an entire house. So while Jessica was gone on vacation for a couple days, I went on Amazon and I bought a fire extinguisher. It got delivered to our house and I placed it like in between our wall and our fridge. And when Jessica got back, I was really happy to show this to her. I was like, I felt like this was a really good thing that I did. And so I told her, I was like, hey babe, look, I got us a fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
And Jessica's reaction was not the way that I was expecting her to react.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me it was like, what the heck? Silence, like,
What's the point of this?
like, what?
Yeah.
What? Why did you get this?
My hope was that Jessica was going to be happy that I was taking care of our safety. Because my intention was that this was an act of love. Saying like, hey, I care about our safety and I want to show you that.
Yeah. But for me, it was the opposite. Not like, oh no, he doesn't love me, that's why he got it. But it was more like, why are you wasting money? Because we share expenses, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, it was like, babe, we don't need this. Why did you get this? Why do you think that the house is going to burn out? Why do you think that something is going to happen? So for me, it was like, oh my God. Now we have an extinguisher that I didn't ask for.
But you had to pay for it, technically.
But I have to pay for, and I have to find a space for it. And I'm a person who likes to have like a neat place. The less, the better. The less clothing, the less shoes, the less everything. It's better for me. And I'm still learning that too. But I think that was for me like not like a exciting moment. Oh, we have an extinguisher.
And it's not like it's not like I like to clutter our house and I buy a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I also agree that it's nice to have an uncluttered house.
Yeah.
But the addition of this fire extinguisher was not something that Jessica saw the importance
benefit.
Of. Yeah, the benefit of.
Yeah, I didn't see the benefit. So this is the situation that we had. We kind of argue about it.
Yeah.
I was not understanding your point. You were not understanding my reaction, like why I wasn't I don't know, like happy or,
Yeah.
you know? So at this point, guys, we would like you to share with you like 3 foundational tools to listen actively. And I'm going to be the active listener, and John is going to be the talker, the one who is bringing up the discomfort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sharing my feelings and my reaction.
Yeah. And I'm the one who is going to be listening actively. And the first step is mirroring. Remember, there are 3 foundational tools. So the first tool is mirroring, which is repeating what your partner said in your words. Okay, John, can you please start?
Yeah. So when you came home and I shared with you the fire extinguisher, your reaction of being upset about it made me feel like you didn't appreciate my act of love or the way that I wanted to show love. And also the way that you reacted to me thinking about our house catching on fire at some point, or possibly, was that I freak out about things in an unnecessary way. I already recognize that I'm very concerned about disasters and emergencies. And you not understanding me trying to do something about it made me feel alienated. I felt alone. And yeah, I thought it was going to be something that was going to bring us together, bring us some safety, but it brought the opposite. It separated us and it created like a not friendly environment.
Yeah. Okay. So at this point, once I heard or I listened what he said, my
Your job?
my job, yeah, I like that. My job will be to repeat what he said in my words. So it will be like, okay, babe, let me see if I got this. So you said you can say like you said this, or I heard that you felt not appreciated for the action of buying an extinguisher. You felt like weird because you felt that I thought you freaked out for things I don't. And because I was not understanding this, you felt lonely. Because instead of bringing us together, it like split us apart. Like, this guy got this. Yeah? Did I get this right? Did I get it?
Yeah, that's how I felt.
Okay. Is there more about that?
Not at the moment. I might have more later, but that's generally how I felt.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
So this was first tool, mirroring. He talked, I listened, and I repeat what he said in my own words. Second, validation. So here you have to express that your partner's feelings and thoughts are worthy. It's totally the opposite of judging and criticizing. Okay? So at this point, in this situation, I will ask something like, okay, babe, so can you help me to understand why you feel buying an extinguisher is important?
So for me, growing up, my dad always stressed security. So he always loved to lock, not love, but he always said it was important to lock the door.
Yeah.
If he ever saw anything going on outside, he didn't ignore it.
Yeah.
If you heard a noise outside, he would go and look.
Yeah.
And I think my uncle also mentioned other things about like, I don't know exactly what my uncle said, but basically what I learned was if there is something that you think could be a threat,
Yeah.
and you don't do anything about it, when it impacts you, you're responsible. And like some of the words that like my uncle had shared with me was like, you're just stupid if you don't do something about it, or like whatever. So to me, I thought that if I didn't get a fire extinguisher after thinking, oh, that would be helpful. And then in the future, our house did catch on fire.
Yeah.
And we were like responsible for the financial cost of that. Me ignoring that would be stupid and irresponsible. So to me, I thought I was being responsible by taking this precaution.
So Here, remember you have to express that your partner's feelings and thoughts matter. Okay? So I will answer something like, oh, that makes sense, babe. But you actually mean it, guys. At the beginning, maybe it's gonna sound a little bit funny, but mean it. Because now you're understanding where your partner is coming from. He grew up receiving all these messages like, you are stupid if you thought about something bad happening and you were not prepared. And by buying this extinguisher, you felt that you were being responsible and avoiding feeling like, oh, I wasn't ready for this. Right? Mm-hmm. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So, and then the third point will be empathy, which is sharing your partner's feelings. Like, as you can see, like validation and empathy are kind of like connected, and it's putting yourself in your partner's position. So my response after what he shared will be like, I imagine you might be feeling disappointed, right?
Yeah.
Because you were expecting me to have a different reaction. Mm-hmm. And you were expecting me to be grateful for buying an extinguisher. And it was opposite. I was upset. I was not understanding your worry about something happening in the future, which is maybe not very likely, but you are prepared for that. And that makes you feel responsible and that you are taking care of us. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yeah.
Did I get it?
Mm-hmm.
Right,
yep.
Cool. So, I hope it was clear, guys. We tried our best. So, in this situation, we did mirroring, validation, and empathy. And after this, it just feels good. And if you notice it, I never said something like, oh, baby, you are right. Sorry. I never said sorry. Because I don't feel sorry for my reaction because I have a different story, right? So my story is different. My story is like, why are you wasting money? Why this guy is not thinking about me? It's our money. Or it's more things to store in our house. But no, I'm just listening. I'm understanding where he's coming from. I'm like, oh, I got it, babe. I got it. Now I understand you. But I didn't have to apologize. So, and that brings us together. That helps to repair.
Yeah. And it's also a lot easier to acknowledge that your partner's feelings make sense.
Yeah.
That's a lot easier to say than, yeah, you're right, I'm wrong. Because in a lot of moments like this, it's really hard for us to accept that we're wrong. But this way of doing it doesn't have to say like, oh yeah, John, you freaking out and being like super precautious is right.
Yeah.
And me not thinking about that is wrong. No, that's not at all. You don't have to say that.
Yeah.
You just have to say like, yeah, the way you feel makes sense. It's valid.
Yeah, exactly.
And we can both, Jessica's way of living and reacting and my way of living and reacting can exist at the same time.
Yeah,
and we can respect it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I think after this, like once you were the listener, in this case, I was the active listener, but then you can kind of like flip it, switch it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. After you listen to me, I can then take some time and understand how you feel.
Yeah. Okay, baby. Why do you feel that having a extinguisher is going to clutter our life?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I tell my story, where I'm coming from, what I used to hear when I was a kid. And that just brings you together, guys. And I think that's a cool thing. Yeah, about active listening. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay. So, well, we are almost at the end of this episode. And I would like you, John, to share with us what are some of the tips about this new skill and about practicing active listening.
I think the main tip is you can always learn more in a relationship. Never settle for what you know. You can always grow.
Yeah.
That's just the overarching one I have.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to keep growing.
Yeah. What would be the benefits or what are some tips or benefits about this?
I'd say like a tip is that when you do this with your partner, do it together. Let them know, hey, I learned about this thing called active listening. This is how it works. Let's try it together.
Yeah.
Because when you first try it and you say, So how do you feel? Oh, that makes sense. All those things, they're kind of scripted. We're giving you an idea of like what to say.
Yeah.
So it's going to sound and feel weird.
Yeah.
But if you're both on the same page, your partner is less likely to be like, you're just saying that.
Yeah.
Like they'll at least know, we're trying this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's important thing. Like John learned this at the relationship school with Jason Garzee. So they have really good courses, guys. We recommend it 100%. And I learned it when I was studying to become a health educator. And I think I like that. Like we both need to be on the same page to make this new tool work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One person can't be the one listening actively.
Yeah.
If only one of you guys is doing it, it's not going to feel fair.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the next?
Tip 2. When your partner is sharing how they feel, they're going to take a pause.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah.
Give them the space to think and share their feelings. Don't fill the silence. Just let them talk. It's just something that we're not used to. So
Yeah.
it feels awkward, but just...
Yeah, we are. I think that most of the times we are used to like just talk back.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
totally agree.
right.
Yeah.
Stop. No, seriously. And especially if you are like in a heated moment where you are upset and the other person is upset, but you did this to me. Oh, but you blah, 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 blah. Like how many times you have seen that?
Yeah.
Or maybe yourself have experienced this. So just take it easy. I know it sounds easy, but don't feel like the silence.
Tip number 3, when your partner is sharing, it's important to take a pause when you feel like you can't remember everything that your partner is sharing. For me, I'm not good at remembering things if you just talk at me.
Yeah.
So after a certain point, I'm like, okay, Jessica, you just shared a lot with me.
Yeah.
And what you're sharing with me is really important.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that I understood all of it.
Yeah.
So, once your partner has said like 3 to 5 things and you're like, well, that's a lot. You're like, hey, babe, hold on. And then express to them it's important what they're sharing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then repeat back what you just heard and then let them go on.
Yeah.
So they can be like a part 1 of their sharing and then part 2 and a part 3.
Yeah. This is especially for the first tool, which is mirroring, where you are listening only quietly.
Yeah.
And please, guys, remember, make eye contact all the time. That makes a huge difference. Because if you are, I don't know, quote, listening, but you are doing something else, you are looking at something else, it's going to be harder to find that connection.
It also feels awkward when you're talking to someone and they're telling you how they felt when you did something that made them upset.
Yeah.
So it's important to give them eye contact.
Yeah.
And it's also important to face each other. Okay, the next tip. You don't need to find a way to prevent this from happening in the future. This is something that I do a lot in life.
You mean the argument?
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't need to prevent the argument from happening again.
Or any conflict, any fight.
Yeah.
You will have it again. Don't run away.
Again and again. Just like how we had to practice active listening over and over and over again. That happens in relationships and they're not a bad thing to avoid.
Yeah.
So let them happen. Just acknowledge the fact that when you have it the first time, you'll do it again the second time, and then the third time you'll be better, and the fourth time you'll just get better over and over again.
Yeah.
It's a practice.
Great. And last one, but not least.
Be curious about your partner.
Oh.
Understand why your partner has their reaction. Be curious about your partner's world. A lot of times we try and share with our partner the things that happen in our lives, but I think it's equally important to understand our partner's brain, like how they're thinking, why they're thinking that way.
Yeah. And a lot of our arguments, guys, sometimes have their source or roots in childhood. So when you're curious about your partner, you get to know more about the childhood of your partner. Like, oh, I didn't know that you used to hear that at home. Or, oh, you were bullied. I didn't know that. Oh, you were the most popular guy in the school and I didn't know that. And you expect me to be, one other fan in your life. Like, guys, seriously, like, I think that's very important because like whoever we are right now as adults, it's like, it has been shaped for what we heard when we were younger.
And when we understand why our partner has a certain reaction to something, it makes their reaction just seem more reasonable and more rational.
Yeah.
Because before I learned certain things about Jessica, when Jessica would feel rejected about things, my immediate thought was like, why do you have to feel that way?
You are wrong.
Yeah. But then when I learned more about Jessica, I'm like, oh, okay. Because you had that experience growing up, it makes sense that you feel rejected.
And
or
that's
upset.
empathy.
Yeah.
Right? And you are validating my feelings and my thoughts. It's like, oh, that's why, babe. Again, he's not telling me you are right. He's just saying, I understand where you are coming from.
Yeah.
So that's a powerful thing about active listening, right?
Yep.
Cool. So I think we are done with this episode.
Yeah.
I have fun, babe.
Yes, me too. I love blah-blahing about this stuff with you.
I know. That's why I'm Yez Blabla.
Yeah.
So you're a good partner for me to keep blah-blahing.
Yeah.
So guys, one last reminder here. Relationships built in strong communication are for more likely to thrive. You are not more in surviving.
Survival mode?
Yeah, survival mode, but in thriving mode. So the more you communicate clearly, effectively, the more you practice active listening, the more likely you are to be and have a healthy relationship. So thank you, John. Thank you for helping me to keep building a healthy relationship.
Oh, yeah, of course. And thank you for all your support and all your effort and being willing to learn with me.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Yeah. Thank you, babe.
Yeah.
So
I love you.
I hope to I love you too. I hope to have you next time. Any other time. Maybe we can share a bit more about, I don't know, any other topic about romantic relationships and how we have been like going through hard times, right?
Yeah. If there's some other topic that you think would be interesting to learn about, please share with us.
Oh yeah, that would be nice. Maybe you want to share with us like struggle that you have. We have been learning from, again, the relationship school. So maybe we know something that we can share with you guys. And yeah.
Or maybe something about transportation or biking. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, okay, biking is part of your well-being. So that will make sense about keep yourself active. So, okay, guys. So thank you so much. Remember, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook under the Elijo Bienestar podcast, which in English means Choose Wellbeing podcast. I will leave links for the relationship school and also our links for social media. And thank you so much for your attention. And thank you for being here today, John.
Thank you for being part of my life.
Okay.
I love you.
I love you too. Hi. See you guys and talk to you next time. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.